Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. Thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to briefly discuss the Palestine chemicals spill and parse through some of the issues here that are at stake. In order for me to do this video, I spent time on the phone with a chemist who specializes in the particular types of molecules that are in question here. Let me grab my notes. And I want to discuss a few things. So what we're being told right now is that this is containable essentially, and that this is not a major environmental disaster based on the chemicals that are in question, including the vinyl chloride and the ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, amongst other chemicals that are in question. This, from the chemist that I spoke to, and the amount of pollutants that were dumped here, an estimated 1,109,400 pounds of vinyl chloride, which by the way goes into a gaseous form quite easily. This is probably going to end up being on the level of the BP oil spill big, which is in stark contrast and stark opposition to what many of the outlets, particularly the left-leaning outlets, which is kind of ironic, are saying that this is not so bad and that it really isn't such a terrible thing. From everything that I spoke about with this individual, who is far more qualified than I am, this is probably going to end up being quite a big issue. Not only because of the types of chemicals, the amount of chemicals that were spilled, but also, of course, the waterways that are involved, because this is going into the Ohio River and also other waterways associated with it. So we're talking about water that is going to be moving from Ohio into Kentucky and then potentially other areas. One of the pieces of advice that has been given by local agencies and governments is telling people to boil their water. Well, there's a key problem here. According to the individual that I spoke to, the ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, which is extremely toxic, the boiling point for this, so basically the way to get this out, is 171 degrees Celsius. That is not high enough to be removed through boiling water standardly. Essentially, the challenge that's going to be faced here is, in this individual's words, there's not a lot of great technologies to grab these small molecules. These cannot be filtered with a standard filter. Butyl acrylate is hydrophobic, and there are ways to get it out, but none of them are scalable and safe for aquatic life. So the challenge that we're going to be facing here, this is probably not going to go away. And what is not being said really is that from everything that sits available to us as far as options, there are not good ones that are going to pull these chemicals and toxins out of the environment fast enough in order for there not to be very serious consequences. The water is not going to be safe. I do not believe, from everything, just from a chemistry standpoint, when I started looking personally myself at some of these chemicals that were being listed on the spill list, spill inventory, some of them came back to my mind personally as a nurse. I mean, I had organic chemistry in college. It's been a hot minute, but I loved it. I kept all my chemistry books, and some of the compounds that I was reading the list, I'm like, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. Of course, we have data sheets on them, the material safety data sheet, the MSDS, on many of these. But the challenge, I think, is going to be for people who are living in the immediate area, that they're being told, some people have been evacuated because of the gases, some people are being told, to leave. But this, I don't think we have really begun to see the effects of this. And I do not believe that the truth is being told to people. I think that there's a lot of incentive to keep a lid on the severity of the spill. But when you have people, for instance, who have livestock, farmers who have owned lands that are associated, or that are closely adjacent to these waterways, they can't just pick up everything and leave. If you have livestock, if you have cattle, you can't just pick them up and go. It's not so simple. There are issues that are being reported, obviously, with people having nausea and vomiting and other ill effects, which essentially are directly related to and caused by these chemicals that are going into their environment. Essentially, I mean, I don't like maybe making videos like this, but from everything that I spoke about with this individual whose subject matter expertise is this particular area, this is going to be very, very big, and it's probably going to be every bit as bad as the BP spill, from what this individual I spoke with alluded to. And we just are not being told about that yet. So I would be personally highly suspect of would-be soothsaying advice from governmental agencies and people with alphabet soup letters, after their name. I don't see that many of them have an incentive to be honest, particularly if they don't have a solution to the problem. Because government's one of the ways that they try and control people in disasters and in events like this, is they want to tell people that there is a solution. Oh, it'll be fine, it's all okay. And they're going to tell people that regardless of whether or not it truly is okay, regardless of whether or not it truly has a solution, particularly if they don't have one. And directly a quote from this person: these molecules are very small. There's not a lot of great technology to grab these small molecules. They cannot be filtered with a filter. Butyl acrylate is hydrophobic. There are ways to get them out, but none of them are scalable and safe for aquatic life. So the private industry, this is the benefit of capitalism. There are going to be individuals who have the skill and capability to come up with ideas to try and address this, but I don't think we've really scratched the surface as to how bad this thing is going to be. So now what, Patriot Nurse? Now that you've told us that this thing is way worse, and now that you've told us that there are precious few effective ways to grab a hold of these things, yeah, the EPA is there, but do we really trust the EPA? They have been so focused on trying to figure out roundabout ways to make firearms problematic with lead and these other things that they've not been prepared for issues like what we're seeing now. What I would recommend is that regardless of what they're telling you, boiling the water is not going to make it safe. Objectively, from a chemistry standpoint, some of these known contaminants, including ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, their boiling point is higher. It's 171 degrees Celsius. That's higher than what you can actually get with boiling your own water. The water is not going to be safe. I do not believe that from everything. And there's no way that it can be made safe other than tiered distillation, which is another point. There's not a way for this to be washed out of the water with easily scalable and conventionally available means. So don't drink the water. If you are in the area, you make your own decisions, but I think it might be a good time to take a family vacation. I think it might be a good time to consider not being there, because at this point we really don't have a lot of solid data as to just how bad things are. But that's the challenge. The harder things are to spot, the easier they are to fix, the easier something is to ignore, the easier it is to fix, the more blatant and in your face it is, the problem, the harder it is to fix. So by the time that we actually get enough raging, blaring in our face data about just how bad this is, the damage is going to already have been done. So I would recommend that if you were considering taking a family vacation and you're in that area and the area potentially downstream effects of this, that you might want to consider taking a few days off. And the water is going to be an issue, like I said. There are videos circulating, for people who, for instance, have done everything that the authorities told them to do as far as, boil their water, etc. And then, making different beverages with and adding standard food, like milk to it and having it fizz. And it's not good. So I'm putting this video out here because I want to encourage people to use your discernment, okay? Regardless of what people with letters after their name are telling you, you listen to your instincts, listen to your gut, and listen to God's Spirit move in you, okay? If you get a feeling that it's not good for you to be where you're at, leave. If you get a feeling, and your subconscious and your body feedback response will know, right? If you listen to it. If your instincts are telling you it is not safe to be in a particular area, or you just don't feel good about it, leave. And validate that your own internal innate warning system has been installed as baseline software for you and hundreds of generations back for a reason. So listen to your gut. I don't care what the alphabet soup people say. You listen to your gut. You listen to your instincts, and you take care of your family and whatever the best way is that is put in front of you. And I hope the video was helpful for y'all. We, I think, are going to see unfold over the next days and weeks, probably the full scale of this, but we definitely need to be in prayer, I believe. I think moving forward, this is going to end up being something that we look back and see this as a catastrophic and ultimate failure of mismanagement on the part of governmental institutions. But really, when it comes right down to it, we are responsible. In this nation, we are responsible, and we have the freedom to get up and move and to make decisions in our own best interest. So regardless of what somebody's telling you, with whatever letters and badges are in front of them or after their name, if you feel like it's not a good place for you to be, if you feel like that you're not going to be set up for success, get out. Get out. Okay. Hopefully I will, when I get some more information, touch base back with you guys, but I just wanted to share with you. I have been hesitant and just kind of waiting and pausing on this because I wanted to sound out the expertise of people who are like right in this is their wheelhouse. Rather than just parrot a whole bunch of stuff, I wanted to really wrap my head around it and ask people who are smarter than me. And the message that I got from people who are way, way smarter than me on this is that this thing is going to be way bigger than what they said. So stay safe, take care of your people, love on people, and remember that we are operating on a set of rules. With our faith in God, we are operating on a set of rules that are different than what's in front of us, right? We serve a God who led his people out with mighty signs and wonders, and who guided his people through a great unknown of danger with the pillar of cloud by day and the fire by night. He is the same God yesterday, today, and forever. He has not abandoned his people, nor will he abandon his people. He is always going to be with us. He will never leave us or forsake us. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.